edge of town. They thought they'd struck gold. Hardwood floors, a fireplace, a big yard. It felt like the perfect start. The neighbors smiled politely, but when Maya mentioned which house they'd bought, their eyes always lingered just a second too long. The first night, Jordan swore he heard scratching behind the bedroom wall. They laughed it off, rats, maybe squirrels. But as nights turned to weeks, the sounds changed. Sometimes a slow dragging, other times faint whispers that didn't belong to either of them. Then came the food. Sandwiches Jordan made for work vanished. Maya's jewelry went missing, only to reappear in odd places, inside the attic, or tucked neatly under the sink. They blamed each other until the night Maya woke up to the sound of humming. A soft, tuneless hum coming from inside the wall behind her headboard. Jordan knocked on the wall. The humming stopped. Seconds later, something knocked back. Time blurred after that. They tried calling pest control, but the inspector swore the crawl spaces were empty. Still at night, they felt watched. Their dog refused to go near the walls, staring at them, with his hackles raised until one night he bolted into the woods and never returned. One evening when Jordan came home late, he found the house unusually quiet. Maya sat on the couch, pale and shaking. "I saw him," she whispered. "He's not a rat. He's not an animal. There's a man, but his skin looked stretched too tight, like it wasn't his." He crawled back inside. Jordan checked the walls but found nothing. Days later, while cleaning, he discovered a hidden panel behind the laundry room. It opened into a narrow passage. Inside, blankets, food wrappers, and drawings scrawled in charcoal. The drawings showed stick figures asleep in bed and dark shapes crouched above them. They moved out the next week, abandoning furniture and half their savings. They never spoke of it again, except once, when Maya said it felt like he'd been waiting. Like the house wasn't for us, it was his. "We just borrowed it for a while." Jordan nodded, staring at the ground. In his pocket, he still carried something he'd found in that hidden passage. A photograph of them sleeping in their bed, taken from inside the wall.
Story 2, The Cornfield Voices. 5 friends, Trey, Malik, Darius, Keon, and Jada took a late-night walk into the cornfields after a party. They were all tipsy, laughing too loud, clowning each other, ignoring the creak of the crickets and the way the wind bent the stalks, like something was alive in there. The field was endless, swallowing them up the deeper they walked. The moon barely pierced through, and soon the rows of corn looked identical. That's when they heard it. "Yo, Keon, wait up." They all froze. It was Jada's voice. The problem was, Jada was standing right next to Trey, clutching his arm. A shadow moved between the stalks. He was tall, unnaturally tall, but hunched, blending with the rows. Nobody saw his face. Just the rope he carried, frayed and stained. "Man, that's just some bum trying to scare us," Malik scoffed, stepping forward. "He ain't even built like that. I'll fold him." His ignorance was louder than the fear on everyone else's face. Malik squared up, fists clenched, ready to throw hands. The figure mimicked his own voice back at him, perfect pitch. "I'll fold him." Then before Malik could react, the rope lashed out from the stalks, tightening around his throat. His eyes bulged as he clawed, legs kicking, dragged backwards into the corn. His screams cut off into silence. The group ran, tearing through rows. But no matter where they turned, the stalks whispered, and the killer's voice followed. Sometimes as Trey, sometimes as Keon, sometimes as Jada. Every turn felt like he was already there. Darius, panicking, yelled out, "We just gotta stick together!" But then they heard his own voice mocking back, "We just gotta stick together!" He spun, and the rope snapped tight around his neck. His body dropped into the dirt, twitching. Now it was 3 left, breathless, scraping their skin on the sharp leaves. Trey pulled Jada close, whispering, "Don't listen to the voices. Just follow me." But then Jada heard Trey's voice ahead, calling softly, "Don't listen to the voices. Just follow me." "Wait, Trey, that's you!" Confusion split them. In that hesitation, the killer rushed in. Jada screamed as the rope whipped out. Trey tackled the shadow, buying a second for Keon to drag her free. Trey's voice choked as the rope dug deep, silencing him forever. Keon and Jada stumbled out of the cornfield, lungs burning, collapsing on the dirt road. Behind them, the whispers echoed still, imitations of Malik, Darius, and Trey calling their names, begging them to come back. They never did. And from that night on, the cornfield stayed quiet until the wind shifted, carrying laughter that wasn't really laughter at all.
Story 3, the night they tried to get in. 16-year-old Amara thought it would be a normal night. Her mom had gone to grab groceries, leaving her home with only the family dog, Shadow, a loyal black shepherd mix. The house was quiet, lit only by the glow of the TV. Then Shadow growled, not his playful rumble, his low, throat-deep growl that meant danger. Amara muted the TV and listened. At first, nothing. Then tap, tap, tap from the back door. Her phone buzzed with a text. "Are you alone?" The number wasn't saved. Her stomach dropped. Shadow bolted toward the kitchen, barking at the door. Amara crept after him and saw the silhouette of a tall figure pressed against the glass. Another shadow moved at the window. Then another. 3 shapes in total surrounding the house. Her pulse pounded. She locked the kitchen door, ran to the living room and pulled the curtains. That's when the voices started. "Amara," one whispered, perfectly mimicking her mother's voice. "Open the door, baby." Her hands shook. She knew her mom was across town. They were trying to trick her. Shadow barked wildly as the doorknob rattled. She grabbed her mom's old baseball bat from the closet and whispered to Shadow, "We just gotta hold out." The scratching moved to the windows, fingers dragging down the glass, then pounding at the front door. The voices multiplied, calling her name, sometimes as her mom, sometimes as her best friend, sometimes as her own voice. She remembered the panic button on the security system her mom always told her about. Slamming her palm against it, the alarm shrieked through the house. Red lights flashed and the dog barked even louder. The figures froze. Through a crack in the curtain, she saw them melt back into the darkness, slipping into the woods beyond the yard. The voices cut off. Just silence. Minutes later, headlights washed over the driveway. Her mom rushed inside to find Amara clutching the bat, Shadow still growling at the door. They searched the yard but found nothing. No footprints, no handprints on the glass, just cold night air pressing against the house. Amara hugged her mom tight, whispering, they wanted in so bad, but they couldn't. And somewhere in the distance, beyond the trees, came one last faint echo of her own voice. They couldn't. Story 4. The Scarecrow That Watched. 18-year-old Devin agreed to watch his uncle's farm for the weekend. Isolated acres, rows of corn, and a red barn that creaked with every gust of wind. It was supposed to be simple. Feed the animals, lock up at night. Easy money. The first night, he noticed the Scarecrow. It stood at the edge of the field, head tilted, with a burlap sack for a face and a crooked smile stitched in red thread. Devin swore he'd never seen it before, but maybe his uncle put it up recently. At midnight, while checking the locks, he glanced out the window. The Scarecrow was closer, halfway through the field now. He rubbed his eyes, heart pounding. Nah, wind must have knocked it. The next morning it was gone. He searched the field. Nothing but endless corn whispering in the breeze. That night, though, the Scarecrow was back. Standing in the same spot as before, arms stretched wide, Devin stared from the porch, unease crawling through him. The stitched smile seemed bigger than last night. At 1 a.m., the animals erupted. Chickens clucked wildly, horses kicking their stalls. Devin grabbed a flashlight and sprinted to the barn. Inside, the animals cowered in the corners, eyes fixed on the open door. He swung the beam toward the field. The Scarecrow was gone again. Then creak, he turned. The barn door inched shut, though no wind blew. He backed away, light trembling in his hand. From the rafters above came a sound, fabric dragging across wood. The flashlight flicked upward. For one horrifying second he saw it. The Scarecrow crouched in the beams, burlap head tilting, long straw arms dangling down, swaying like ropes. He dropped the light, bolted from the barn, and sprinted back to the farmhouse. Slamming the door, locking every bolt, he collapsed on the couch, chest heaving. Silence, then footsteps. Heavy, deliberate pacing across the porch. A long pause. Knuckles brushed against the window glass, slow, scraping down. Devin didn't sleep that night. At sunrise, his uncle returned. Devin tried to explain, but when they checked the barn, it was empty. No footprints, no broken locks, only the Scarecrow back in its original spot, arms outstretched. The stitched red smile wider than ever.